Hi, welcome to the channel, and sure enough, mosquitoes coming out. What happens when you get too much rain? And that is exactly what we've gotten. We've gotten several rain, or 2 or 3 rains. It's got 10 inches, 14 inches. The first one came down. We've got more rain later. You know, if y'all seen the news and stuff, we didn't get hit as bad as Houston area, but we still got a lot of rain. And when you get lots of rain, it causes lots of problems. I know when you're in a drought, you think, hey, I just would love to have rain. Well, when you get several inches and you start measuring in feet, not, you know, inches, it gets bad, especially when it's right about ripening time for your stone fruits. And I did a short video talking about, you know, what's brown rot, and I kind of had to show everything. Well, since we got more rain and I couldn't spray anymore because of it, this is what's happened. And, you know, I think during that video I said we'd probably lose, you know, 50%. Well, we got a few off of it before I made that video, and then it rained. I left and it rained that night. We got like another 10 inches or so. Then I got another 2 inches this weekend. We got rain Thursday, you know, so about every 3 or 4 days we're getting really heavy rains, and this stuff that brown rot just destroyed these things. So all this whole tree, total loss on it. It had lots of peaches on it. This was a nectarine tree, and it's even more susceptible to the brown rot. And as you can see, you know, they're all gone. That's just what happens. Now, granted, I only sprayed, I think I sprayed this one twice, but I'm not sure if I sprayed like I was supposed to, if this would help with this much rain and staying this wet and getting that many rains back to back. I don't know if it would have helped or not, but you know, that's kind of what happened. And you know, I always said I'll show everything. Kind of hate to show this, but that's what happened. Now we'll come over and show, I think this is it, more of the brown rot there. Now the plum trees seem to have fared a little bit better so far because they're not as far along. There is a brown rot there. Let's hit that one. So I don't know if these are going to make or not. I'm kind of starting to doubt it the more I look at it. And this tree's never made. And this is the first year I've had a lot of fruit on it. But plums are hard in this part of the country because you got that smooth skin, so that brown rot get right on that skin, start growing and take it over. Where if you got a piece that's got some fuzz on it, that does give you a little bit of protection. But you know, this is kind of the whole, this is another nectarine tree that's just been told to eat up with the brown rot. Now this is the plum tree that's got some plums on it, and I'm gonna pick off the plums that don't have the brown rot on it, and we're gonna look at it and see how it does. And then back up over here, we got a tree that got some plums, some pieces off the other day. And you know, there's a few of these that, well, the more I look at, but there's a few of these that might make it. I'm going to try to pick them early and see if we can't make them for cobbler or whatever. There's another tree up over there I'll show you later. But that's kind of where we're at. You know, when you get this much rain and you get several inches of rain back to back over a 3-week period of time, it just never stops raining. And it was so wet I couldn't even get out here. It was so muddy, and you know, well, I could if I wanted to, but it would really, you know, almost start to sink down and bog down. That's just what happens sometimes. So a little bit my fault, but mostly it's just this area is not conducive to growing peaches. I know that, but I really like peaches. So this year it didn't work out. Next year it might. So kind of like a farmer's always next year. Now we're going to go to the other side of the garden and kind of show you what's happening over there. This is the in-ground or the raised bed gardening on it. This is where we had our broccoli. The broccoli did made heads about that big. We had to be careful because it's starting to get hot, so some of them are almost flowering on me. They kind of look like this in here, and they won't stay like that very long. You have to pick these quick because you're starting to see those little, you know, within a day, you go from having a really nice big head to one that you got to throw away. So kind of consider that. We're going to come over here. These leaves are starting to die on these, so I'm going to see this elephant garlic, just see. Okay, yeah, that's more than what I like. Now, one thing about elephant garlic, they will put these little nodules on here, And you can take that notch and you can plant those, and see that's already sprouted. And they'll make even a bigger one later. So I'll lay that right there, and I could probably go back and plant those in a pot or back in here. I'm going to go back and plant some peppers in here. I've ordered some from Hoff's Tools, and be coming in this week. So this bed's gonna be cleaned up pretty good, and doing that. If you can slowly move the other way so it won't make everybody drunk. This is the cantaloupes that I planted, and almost fire ants beside them, but they're starting to grow and do good. A couple of volunteer tomatoes there. So, you know, starting to flower, and that's even one that's got a male, there's a female flower to it. So they're starting to do good. We'll see how they do. The blackberries is right here. This is a Primark Freedom blackberry. They're really big, and most of the berries are about this size. We've been picking them every day. Had to get these picked pretty early too, or they'll go bad on you also with all the rain. But you know, we've been getting a lot of, you know, probably a bowl about this big about every day or every other day on this little 4x8 bed, and these over here. This is also Primark Freedom, because you can tell by the size of the fruit. And these are my carrots, so we're gonna start picking them, so they're starting to die too. Some more fire ants. This is Sweetie Pie, and they have significantly smaller berries. But I like these berries a lot better than I like the Primark Freedom. And then this is Ponca. This is another one that's just now starting to make. These are a little bit later. We'll swing over here right quick. This is the Ujitsu, the sweet lemon tree that you eat. Lemon's like an orange. You know, they're starting to size up. Got a good, you know, about the right size, because you don't want too many of them because it overburns the tree. So that's, you know, we're gonna make a good crop this year. You know, if everything goes right, like I said with the peaches. If everything goes right, make a really good crop. I work with farmers all my life, and that's kind of a mantra. This is a Ponca. Now, one thing I got, here's one of the one gives an X. Mandarins. I'm gonna have to clear this out. Just kind of choke it out a little bit. This here is the Cara. It's got some fruits on it here and there. Here's some more plums that I got growing. They don't rot yet. This here is Mr. Mac, and it was the best tasting of the ones last year. Produced a lot. It's got some on it here. We got one other one over there. That's the Miho, and we've got to trim all that stuff up, because that's just the Okinawa. I mean, not Okinawa, Chickasaw plum. And I'm just really got it for a pollinator. And then more of our trees that didn't do well. So, but kind of the way it is. Now we're gonna go further on in, and I'll show you another part of the garden. This is the tomatoes, and they really look bad. I understand that. I picked a few tomatoes. They're starting to ripen up, especially cherry tomatoes. And you know, I'll kind of do a better update once I do got the cages. I'm gonna start putting the cages up hopefully tomorrow. I would put them up this weekend, but it was so wet that I was bogging up in there, and I didn't want to make a bigger mess. It's going to be hard to get these things up into a cage without breaking, so I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to work, but I would like to get them up off the ground, because when it's on the ground, you have to come more rotting on you. Over here is the, now this trash can here, I think had about this much water in it here 3 weeks ago, and just rainwater has put that much in it. So, and this is the I think it's Odom or Guthrie. That's a improved Chickasaw plum. Some of these are ripening. I did get, I think, 2 spray-ins on these, but it's such a big tree. There's also some warm pressure in it, but I think I'm gonna try to pick these off as we go. I'm gonna try to look at the camera so you can hear me. But it made a lot of them. We do got some that's got some brown rot, but you know, I'm not knocking anything against brown rot this year, because that's just a bad year. But these things are so burdened down. Here's where you normally walk through, and we're gonna have to crouch in to go see it. So we'll go up over there and I'll show you that. Okay, this is the Nilo corn. It's the orange corn that I was growing. It's tasseling out. I think last time y'all seen it, it's really small. I did have to spray it because worms got in it some, and I think the worms hit this a little bit more. I may have to spray again. I used spinosad the first time, and I'll probably go back, maybe spinosad again, I don't know. I like to alternate with BT and spinosad so you don't get any resistance build up. And further back on, there's another plum tree that's got some plums on it that we did today, and they said they tasted fairly good. They're usually a really good tasting plum. The other bad thing about when you get lots of rain is the peaches and the plums will both have watered down flavor, so they're not coming with the concentrated flavor. So not only are the ones rotting, but the fruit that you do get tend to be a little bit more bland and a lot more watery. Not juicy, watery. There is a difference. However, for my citrus, this is the N33 navel orange, and it's got some good oranges on it, so it's going to make good this year. Even though it suffered a lot of damage and winter damage, it's still go ahead and put on. I may not even take down T-post. It looks like this may be an every year thing, trying to protect it. But if it'll produce this much fruit, you know, it's worth doing. Over here is my failed onions. And I know there's weeds everywhere, and they weren't this bad 2 weeks ago. But, I mean, they just didn't, I mean, this is one of the bigger ones. And somebody planted two side by side. You're not supposed to do that. And that's about the size I got. Last year I had them this big. So, I don't know. That part I don't understand. But they weren't making before. They were dying before we got all the rain. So, you know, I tried, it just didn't work. I'm gonna go in here and till this up again and plant some field peas, because we still got time to do that since it's early part of May. Over here is our potatoes. I'm gonna try some of the wetter areas. I pulled some up the other day and they hadn't rotted yet, so let's see if these are rotted or not. And I wanted to pull them up. If you're gonna get a lot of rainfall, you want to keep from doing that. Which we'll knock that off, but that's fixing to rot really quick. Those will wash off and see what happens. But before, when I pulled these out, they just came up with big old mucky stuff. And then you go there and here and see, there's a rotten one. I tell you, them things stink. But maybe these will be okay. I don't know. We'll wash them. Not supposed to wash them, but in that case, you're gonna have to wash those. So, you know, I really wanted to have dug them 2 weeks ago, because I knew, you know, when this rain first started, but we just never let up enough that I could pull them up without them just being a mud ball, so I didn't. This peach tree, believe it or not, we thinned this one. It's a later maturing one. We did get a spray on it right before the second or third rain we got. So, you know, maybe some of these will make. I said that last video and it didn't work. But the garden, sometimes you gotta be an eternal optimist. So, and this isn't anything I'm really depressed about. There's a lot more things in life to be depressed about than missing a fruit crop, okay? When we was out in Houston, my wife was getting over, you know, she had to have a transplant. She had 2 organ transplant, and we really felt sorry for this little girl up there. She's just turned 11, and she's in need of a transplant, and she's waiting to get the transplant. Her mom and dad have been together since high school, and first time they've ever been apart, because the daddy's with the kids up around Dallas, and she's with her oldest daughter, and they got 2 other smaller siblings, and that's sad. And you know, we're praying for them and pray that everything goes well and she'll get the transplant and it'll fix. She's just got 1 organ for a transplant, hoping they'll fix her lungs, because the lungs aren't doing good either, but they think it's because of the other organ. But anyway, that's when you get sad. So if you're watching my video and you're seeing all this stuff happening, all these things dying, guys, it's not that bad, okay? And I just want to say that, because if you're in gardening and something bad happens, you know, don't worry too bad about it. It's not life or death. You know, I do this gardening for food, and I know what I'm spraying on it, so I know what's in the food, but a lot of it, I enjoy doing it. So I don't enjoy when everything dies on me, but still. And you usually always have some successes. So we're gonna walk over here, and I like to say this is gonna be a success, but I don't know. This is the bean crop. Way too much water on this. These 2 rows, except for the 10-foot maybe right here, is the green blaze, Hacienda green blaze tomatoes. The others are topazio beans. They're shelling bean. If I get enough dry weather, maybe they'll still make. They're not looking very good, but they just got too much water. Down here, they're pinto beans. They don't look, I mean, they're looking better, and they may go ahead and pull out of it. This here is supposed to be corn. I planted it twice. I don't know if it's the seed. I don't know if there's something in the soil that's eating them. I know there's some worm damage on the few that did pop up. You know, they don't look good when they're popping up like this one here. I mean, it's something that's chewing on that. I just don't know. But I'm tired of messing with the corn, so I'm gonna go back in with field peas on this area too. But I will show you something I think it's gonna do good. And this is the pears. And we got this pear tree, it's loaded down. It's not affected by brown rot. There is a fire blight that can get into them, but this tree here so far hasn't had fire blight. And go over here. This tree here has had fire blight in the past and even this year, but it's still gonna produce me a few pears. So it's a different variety of pear, and one of them's a golden boy. I think this is golden boy. So, you know, you can't always get too depressed. One thing that we did have really good success with this year, and I thought we was going to fail at, and that's the Lowquats. And we picked almost all of them, but they still got a few on it. And I really like these. Now I want to see if this one, last time I did this, the only one I've ever tasted that was bad was on video. So most Lowquats would have 2 or 3 seeds in it. This particular variety here almost always just has 1. So you got all this flesh. Some people peel off the skins. I never do. Too much problems. Probably I'll wash your hands after picking up a rotten potato, but too late now. I am trying to plant these and see what happens. They do say if you're gonna plant Lowquats, plant while they're still wet, like a citrus. So once they dry out, your germination goes to pot. I do want to pull one of these over here. These are a little bit higher. Just going down here. And just to see if these are faring any better. Yeah. See, those are, well, it's got a little bit on them, not near as much. And yeah, that's pretty good harvest if, you know, they don't rot. But that is one good thing about putting these up on these beds, is you know where the potatoes are. And that's about what you're going to get from potatoes. I know sometimes you'll see people and they show all these potatoes. If you get this much every time, what you're looking at, I planted 1 potato and I got 4 or 5. That's, sometimes you do better. But, you know, I'm not depressed with this much. You know, this is about average. I'm not impressed either. But, you know, your potatoes, good thing about putting them up on the beds is it gets them out of that really wet stuff like down there, because if you look, that's where the water was standing down there. And this is up a little bit higher, so try to put your potatoes on higher ground, on sandier soil. If you're on a raised bed, that's even better, so you won't get rotted. And you're not supposed to wash your potatoes, because when you wash them, they tend to rot faster. So, you know, now those down there, I might have to. These here, you know, if they're like this, you can put those up, and you know, that's going to dry out. I usually put them in the garage in one of those baker racks, let them dry, and you know, that'll last for a while. But anyway, show one more deal, make success. Anyway, hopefully, this is the way gardening is. Some years you do really good. This year, some things have done really good. My Lowquats done great. Looks like my pears are going to do good. Beans, not sure. Tomatoes aren't doing that great, but they're still gonna make some. It's a hodgepodge. The stuff at the house is looking better because they're in pots and things. I'll do a video on that here coming up. Blackberries have done really well this year. I'm impressed with the Ponca and the Sweetie Pie and the Primark Freedom. You know, they're good tasting blackberries, thornless. So, you know, if you're planning on trying something like that, if you're down south and you're wanting to plant raspberries, give up on that idea and plant you some blackberries. May not be quite as good. Now, I like blackberries better, but some people don't like them as good. I will say that if you're going strictly for flavor, the Ponca and the Sweetie Pie have better flavor than the Primark Freedom. But the Primark Freedom will produce more, has stronger canes. So anyway, just trade off which one you want to go with. Thanks for watching, and hopefully it's not been a depressing one. Or maybe you say, hey, I thought it was bad. You've seen my garden this year. My only thing I will say is that, yeah, everything's grown up. You see lots of weeds, but it's just because I've not been around. You know, I've been at Houston and the hospital a lot. So, and when we get this much rain, it just takes a couple of weeks. This thing gets away from you. So I'm going to bring the lawnmower out here. I'm going to bring the tiller out here. Hopefully it's supposed to rain next week again. So anyway, have a good day. See you later.